Hi besties, what's up? My name is Mackenzie and welcome to my channel and welcome to day 2 of Bookmas. As you have already seen from the title and the thumbnail, we are going to be reading the Maple Hill series by Miss Hannah Grace. So that is Icebreaker, Wildfire, and Daydream. And I'm very excited about this. I have already read the first 2 books and I'm not going to lie, I didn't love them the first time I read them. And this was a purchase that I made while I was not in my right mind. In fact, I was very severely depressed when I made this purchase. And so I'm going to give these a second try before I unhaul them, basically. So we are going to start with Icebreaker. This will be a full spoilery vlog. However, I will do my best to bookmark the video where book 1 spoilers end and then book 2 starts and then book 3. But obviously, I will tell you guys when we start Wildfire and when we start Daydream. So let's kind of get into Icebreaker and give you my initial thoughts this time reading it because I have already started it. So I am a little bit further. I think I'm on chapter 6 now, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe chapter 4. I think I'm on chapter 4 actually. I'm not 100% sure. Sorry. I guess I could have been better prepared for this, but we're gonna go with I'm on chapter 4, page 31. And yeah, I think I'm on chapter 4. So if you don't know, in this book, we follow Anastasia and Nate. And at the beginning of the book, we find out that essentially there was this huge prank gone wrong and one of the school's ice skating rinks is completely down for the count. So that means that the hockey team and the ice skating team need to work it out and figure out when each of them can do the things that they want to, if that makes sense. So we have Anastasia, who's very type A, needs to know everything that's going on, when it's going on, and how everything is going to work out. And then we have Nate, who's more chill, laid back. He's like, we'll get this worked out. And Anastasia is kind of flipping out because if they don't do well this year, that means that she won't be able to go to, not nationals, I think it's the Olympics. She won't be able to go to the Olympics. So I'm very excited. I'm actually thoroughly enjoying this book a lot more than I was the first time I read it, I believe. However, I do remember liking it up to a certain point, and then there was a turning point for me that I didn't love it as much, so I'm hoping that we can continue on with this trajectory of me liking it. And yeah, I think that's really all I have to say right now, so I will just let you guys get into the rest of the video. Was not expecting to come on here so soon and talk to you guys after just saying I was on chapter 4. I have been following along in the book. I read some on my Kindle, but I just downloaded the audiobook, so I am listening and reading along. I feel like that's fun, and so far I am, like I said, I'm liking this reading experience better. Like I said, I do remember a turning point where I didn't love it as much, but I guess we will see how everything goes. So I am a little bit into chapter 6. I'm on page 51. And I forgot how funny this book is. Like, Hannah Grace, focus on me, please. Hannah Grace is literally a comedic genius. I love it. She's so funny. I also forgot how big of a dick Aaron is from the beginning of the book. I knew that he said some rude things, but I did not realize, like, he is an A1 douchebag, to be honest. So I hate him. But I'm really liking this. So I'm liking it better than I did. So I'm wondering if when I read the first time, it was just a fluke. I'm hoping that's what it was, but I really like it. Let me see if I can find the part that I really liked. Like, it made me smile. Okay, I don't think I can find it, and I'm going So this is when Nate sees Stassi at his party, even though he wasn't like necessarily expecting for her to come. Scanning the den to see who turned up, I immediately spot Miss I Don't Have a Name. She looks significantly more relaxed than she did earlier. Her long light brown hair is curly, bouncing around her face as she throws her head back and laughs at something her friend said. Her cheeks are flushed, ocean blue eyes bright. She looks happy. I like it. So cute. I really like it. And then, if you don't know, if you're just watching this without reading the books, or you might not even remember, but a lot of these dorm rooms actually have like security coded locked bedrooms. So she has to go to the bathroom and he offers to let her use his bedroom's bathroom in the house instead of having to wait in the long line that happens at every party. So yeah, like I said, I'm really liking it. I'm hoping I can get a decent amount of the way through it. I don't know if this is a mistake, but I'm going to listen to it at a faster speed when I'm reading it physically with the book, and then I will most likely slow down the audiobook if I'm doing other things, because I do think part of the reason I didn't love the remainder of the book was because I listened to it too fast. Now, the vlog that I read this in though, like I did have some 5-star reads in that video, so it's just kind of a toss-up, but for some reason I just have this feeling towards this book series that I need to give it another shot before completely writing it off. So like I said, I'm really enjoying it and I'm going to continue reading it probably until Steven gets home. I don't know when he'll be home. It really just depends. Is it going to be an hour? Is it going to be 5 hours? Nobody knows. So I'm going to continue reading and kind of see where we go from there. My baby is also still asleep, which I'm kind of surprised by. I wonder if she's going to take a longer nap because she did not get a good nap in this morning, so she's probably really tired. So fingers crossed that I can get a little bit more reading in. I'm kind of bummed. So it is November 10th. My Vampathon vlog was supposed to go out on the 12th, and unfortunately I have lost all my editing stuff. And besides that, one of my vlog clips, the beginning, of course, has kind of like blacked out. I don't know what happened. Don't know if my camera overheated. I don't think it would have, but it's a good possibility it probably did. So I'm trying to decide if I want to refilm that, or if I just want to let it go and leave it in the vlog. Maybe if it's not too important. I think it's only for a minute or two, so maybe I can just like cut that part out. But like I said, I don't have my editing stuff, which sucks. I lost the plugin for my laptop, so I ordered 2 packs of them, so 4 in total. So hopefully when those get here tomorrow, I can kind of see where the vlog is lining up, and maybe I can post it on Friday instead, or I can just wait until the next Tuesday. I haven't fully decided yet, but something tells me I'm probably going to only be posting 2 weeks in November, which was not anticipated. I think someone woke up. I'm gonna go get her. Hi besties, what's up? Okay, something tells me you guys are not going to last this full update, but I guess we are going to see. So I have some updates on Icebreakers. So I am a little over halfway through. I'm on page 249. I had to stop in the middle of a chapter last night, and then I just never got around to picking it back up. But I read the good majority of this book yesterday. I read over 50% yesterday. So I do have some thoughts. Obviously, I'm really liking it if I read 50% of it in one day. Yeah, 250 pages is a lot for me on a good day, but I wasn't even trying and I read that amount. So that's really great for me. I'm actually going to rearrange this camera really quick. Sorry. You guys were just a little bit too tall for me. I don't know. Anyways, so I am, like I said, I'm really enjoying this reread. I'm glad that I decided to give it a second chance. Now, do I think this is going to be a 5-star all-time favorite? No. But I can see it bumping up a little bit in rating. So I did want to read you guys some of these quotes that I tabbed last night while I was reading. So this first one comes from page 102. Turns out people from Washington aren't very friendly. A vicious lie, Hawkins. We're famously very friendly. He shrugs, still smirking. I need you to show me because I'm struggling to believe you. Prepare to be amazed. I'm already amazed by you, Anastasia, he said, winking. What? That, I really, really liked that one. It made me kind of giggle a little bit. My camera battery is dying, as it does in every video. So I'm gonna charge my camera and then we can kind of go over more of this stuff. Alright, hello. First of all, we are going to ignore the hair. I don't want to hear about it. I was too lazy to find a brush, but I did put makeup on. So, I don't know. Okay, I do have some updates. It is the next day, and I have some very surprising updates for you. So, first, let's talk about Icebreaker. So, I know that I said I was going to read some quotes off. I will read one more off for you that I really, really liked. and then we will kind of continue. Oh, okay, this one is cute. I like this one. Okay. Being with Nate brings an overwhelming sense of safety. Like, whatever problem I throw at him, he'd cope with. In a world where I feel like I could be swept away by the waves at any moment, he anchors me. I value that. I value him. Okay, so here is my dilemma with this book. I'm having a crisis because I did really like this reread. It bumped up from a 3-star to a 3.25. So like we are really splitting hairs here, but I don't know, you guys. Let's talk about like, well, first I'm going to take all the tabs off out of the book because I don't know that I'm going to keep this book. I'm not sure. I haven't decided yet. We'll have to read the second two for me to figure that out. But first, let's talk about the things that I liked, because I did like a lot about this book, and I think I pinpointed exactly what I am like missing from this book to absolutely love it. So first, I liked the duality that we saw between, like, I wanted to say Russ, we aren't there yet. Nate's relationship with his dad and Stassi's relationship with her parents. I really liked that. I also really liked the therapy rep in here. Now, I'm not in therapy. Probably should be. I'm not, but I probably should be. So I really liked the therapy. There was obviously Stassi's therapy that she went through by herself. And then obviously a little bit later in the book, her and Aaron started to go to couples counseling. Now, I just forgot how big of a douchebag Aaron was this whole book. Like, I remembered him being a jerk, but I did not remember all the little things that he said about Aurora behind her back. And, all the things he said about Stassi behind her back. It was terrible. It was humiliating. Like, it was horrible. It's terrible. And then I guess if we're gonna talk about Aaron, we should also talk about that kiss. I forgot about that. How did I forget about that? That was like biggest turning point in the book. I mean, I know it was like at the very end of the book, but it was the biggest turning point where Stassi realized that she couldn't even be acquaintances with Aaron, and that's when she, I believed, stopped doing pairs for figure skating, if I'm not mistaken. So I can't believe I forgot that. I'm really glad that Nate was there and he kind of saw it firsthand, because I do think that, and that was a really great, I mean, not great, obviously, but like there was a path that we could have taken where that could have caused a third act conflict and breakup. And another thing that I really enjoyed about this book is there was no third act breakup. There was a third act conflict, yes, but they communicated super well because of Stassi's background in therapy. She knows how to talk things out, and she also knows when to kind of give herself a break and calm down before she talks things out with. I also really love the relationship that Stassi has with all of the hockey boys. It is like just one big found family, and I love that. I also especially loved her relationship with Henry. I kind of forgot a little bit how much love there is between Stassi and Henry. Like, I really did. And it is just such a pure, sweet love that, like, it's like a friend love. It's a pure, sweet friend love that I'm obsessed with. I love it. I love how this book kind of like depicts that you can have like healthy friend relationships between opposite genders, and there doesn't have to be jealousy. There doesn't have to be worrying, because obviously like Henry is Henry. But yeah, I just loved that. I loved Henry. I loved seeing him again in this book. That was one of the highlights. Him and Stassi's relationship was one of the highlights. Now, the thing that I think I'm missing from this book, the only thing I can think of that I might be missing from this book, is I feel like we were just baseline with everything. There weren't necessarily super hard conversations in this book. There wasn't anything in particular that made me feel really connected with the characters. I felt more connected to Henry, whose book this wasn't even, and Russ, whose book this isn't even about. Like, I felt more attached to them than I did Nate and Stassi. And I know that they got to know each other off page. We needed that. We needed that. We could have cut out some other scenes in this book, I feel like, and had them go on. I guess we had them go on their first date, but we could have seen all the lead up and stuff, but we didn't get a chance to. So that's a really big bummer. Like I said, I rated it at 3.25 stars. That's up a quarter of a star from the last time I read it, so that's good. But yeah, other than that, I'm feeling kind of down in the dumps that I didn't love that as much as I thought I would. So it is what it is. It is what it is. Alright, sorry if the angle changed. I had to clear some stuff off of my SD card. Hi. What, nothing to say? My cat was literally a demon from hell last night. Like, I know this is a side tangent, but literally, I would just be on the brink of falling asleep. Like, basically asleep. And he'd come in and scream at me. And it happened 3 times last night. He hasn't done that for a long time. So, as you can imagine, I was overstimmed last night while trying to go to bed. That isn't a good mix of things, if you want to say that, I guess. I think this angle is a little bit better and further back from the table, but anyways. So right after I finished Icebreaker, I started Wildfire, and I'm doing like a low-key challenge with myself to read 200 pages every day this week, and I probably should start that video today because I crushed it. I haven't read any more today. I read 179 pages of this yesterday, and then I read, oh crap, I really should have actually kept that stuff. Oh, I don't know where I was. I think I was a little bit over halfway. Okay, no, I don't think I read, I think I read like 150 pages of this. It's probably around page 250. I remember I was in the middle of a chapter, so we'll just say page 250 because I know that it was, oh my gosh, no, that is not even funny. I was on this page. I remember this. So I read the whole rest of this, and then I read almost 200 pages of Wildfire last night. So that is pretty good if I do say so myself. But let's talk about Wildfire. So I'm assuming you know what this is about, but I'll give you kind of a rough rundown really quickly before I get into it. So we follow Aurora and Russ in this book. And at the beginning of the book, they actually meet at this party, and they have an immediate attraction to each other, and it ends up in them hooking up. And then instead of staying there and getting to know Russ like Aurora wants to, she thinks that because he's in the bathroom and she can hear he's talking to someone on the phone, and he wants her to leave, so she leaves. But in fact, Russ was actually giving himself the pep talk of the century to ask Aurora out to go on a date. So yeah, we kind of start there and then kind of takes off from here. Obviously, the main plot of this book is not at UChem, which is where the first book mainly takes place. This takes place at a, oh my gosh, my words are not working today. Sorry. I need to take a moment because if I get flustered and irritated, it's not gonna work. I'm just so exhausted. Yeah. I'm tired because of you. So this book is not like Icebreaker in the fact that this actually takes place at a kid's summer camp instead of the college. So obviously Aurora and Russ meet back up at this camp, and Aurora is kind of like battling with herself because she's like, I really liked him, I thought he was into me, but then he wanted me to leave, and now he's not paying attention to me or acknowledging me in any way, so I don't know what to do. And then Russ is in his head because he's like, I thought we had a really good time, but she kind of left, so I don't really know how to react. So we kind of go from there. I don't know, I feel like I thought that the spoiler vlog was gonna have a lot more like in-depth spoilery thoughts, but I don't feel like I have that for these necessarily. Maybe I should be taking notes. But one thing that I really like is that where there are a few chapters of miscommunication where they didn't talk to each other and say, hey, you know, this was my impression, like whatever. Yes, there were a few chapters before that happened, but I do like how it happened pretty soon into the book that they had that conversation and they realized that they had been miscommunicating and that they were both being really silly. However, obviously this summer camp, they have this whole no fraternizing rule. So it's really fun to see that because obviously Aurora and Russ have a lot of chemistry. I am eating this book up. It took everything in me not to continue reading it this morning before I updated you guys. And honestly, I needed to get in the shower and wash my hair before I did that. So I'm really liking this. And there's also different parent dynamics in here than there was in Icebreaker, obviously. So we have Aurora's mom, who I think is kind of supplementing the love that Aurora should have gotten from her dad her whole life. So she's being overbearing and I don't know, she's just momming way too hard, to be honest. And then obviously her dad, her and her dad have a very strained relationship. They don't ever talk to each other. They don't, not from lack of trying on her part, he just never seems interested in her. And then we have Russ, who has parents that are still married, but are they happily married? It kind of depends. His dad is pretty heavily into gambling, and it is really heartbreaking to read what Russ is going through because obviously he puts on this kind of confident persona in this book because you gotta fake it until you make it, basically. And it is just so heartbreaking to see the things that his dad is texting him and see how terrible people are, to be honest, because I don't doubt that this has happened before. In fact, it makes me really sad to think about that, but I don't know, it just makes me really sad to think about this because this is kind of like a gambling addiction. I feel like isn't too necessarily common in books. You see like alcohol and drug addiction and stuff like that, but you don't necessarily see the gambling addiction. And maybe that's just the books I read, right? But like, and then a couple chapters before this, we had, you know, Russ talk to his dad. And that was a very hard, like, it was just, oh, squoze my heart. I really have a soft spot for Russ. I really like him. I'm really liking Wildfire more than I thought I would upon reread. I'm liking it better than the first time I read it, I think. I think I'm just really appreciating the obvious chemistry and the will they won't they, because in Icebreaker they didn't really have that. Not saying that it wasn't there, but it wasn't there to this extent. I think I saw something somewhere that was like slow burn ruined me, and that's kind of how I feel with Icebreaker, because I feel like we didn't get that like relationship build up that we're kind of getting with Russ and Aurora. And I also like how they talk things out. Obviously they had that initial miscommunication, and I really like with Russ, he'll be like, I don't want to talk about it right now. Doesn't mean I never will, but I really don't want to talk about it. But it seems like he's opening up to Aurora, and then obviously he's opened up to Henry about everything. And Henry is just such a great friend, honestly. Yeah. And then the scene that I ended on last night before I went to bed, because I would have tried to finish this last night. I'm going to be so honest with you. I wanted to. But it was when Aurora and Russ went to like her private spot to think, and they just kind of hung out, they talked, they went swimming, and it was really nice to see that. I think they really needed it, especially after Russ's sudden departure from the camp. And I like how, even though Aurora doesn't want him to share things he's not comfortable with, it really hurt her that he didn't come and at least tell her that she was leaving. He only went and told the counselor, and she was like, you know, you didn't have to tell anybody else, but I thought you would come talk to me. And I think that's kind of opening his eyes up, because I don't think that the people in Russ's life have cared about him to the extent that he deserves. And I think that this found family that he's having, and like even the relationship with Aurora that's forming, I think he's realizing how much people can actually like care about him and care about his well-being, because I think for him it's kind of felt surface level for the most part. So yeah, I really like that. Yeah, I'm really liking this a lot more than I thought I would, which is leaving me in like a dilemma, because I don't want to separate the books, but I also don't think I would ever annotate Wildfire. Obviously I'm only halfway through, so it's not a definitive answer yet, and we have to see where I am with Daydream. But okay, another funny thing that I thought I would mention between these two books is Ryan. So Ryan obviously hooked up with Stassi at the beginning of this book, but then we find out that he's also been hooking up with Aurora in this book. So I think that's really, really funny. I hope we get a book with him. I do think, I think I'm finding it kind of like irritating within myself that I cannot pinpoint exactly what Hannah Grace isn't doing for me that other authors do for me. So I don't know. I'm hoping that the rest of Wildfire will redeem itself, like redeem my feelings a little bit. And then I'm also really hoping that Daydream will flip a switch in me. I know that not a lot of people like Daydream, but I think I'm really gonna like it. I think there's a friends to lovers aspect that we're getting more in Wildfire than we did in Icebreaker, but I think I'm really gonna like that friends to lovers type thing better. So I guess we will see. But we definitely need a Ryan book. So hopefully that happens, because it seems like he bangs people and then they find their one true love. I obviously don't know if that's like him and Hallie have hooked up, and I don't know if that was meant to happen. I also noticed something. So at the end of Icebreaker, or like in the middle, he started dating Olivia. So I'm kind of confused in the timeline, because Olivia was mentioned at the beginning of Wildfire, but he wasn't hooking up with her anymore. So I don't know when the timeline of this is. I'm getting kind of confused, and I think I'm overthinking it a little bit, but I don't know. I guess we will see. But I'm gonna go and continue on with Wildfire. It actually snowed where I live today. I'm gonna try not to like dox myself out here, but you guys can see it didn't snow too much, but I don't know. If that docks me, I can show you a different angle that I'm more comfortable showing, obviously, but I was not looking forward to that, but it wasn't as much as I thought it was. So I don't know. I think I'm gonna make hot chocolate, and I'm gonna sit on the chair and vibe. Oakley is asleep right now, so I really need to get some stuff done before she wakes back up, but I guess we'll see. So anyways, I think that's all I have to talk to you guys about. I don't know. We're gonna see how I feel about all this after the fact, but I'm still really bummed that I didn't love Icebreaker as much as I thought I would upon reread, but it is what it is. So I'm gonna let you guys go, and I will probably talk to you guys next when I finish Wildfire. And if that doesn't happen tonight, or if that doesn't happen today, which I think it will, but if it doesn't, I will definitely update you guys tomorrow and let you know what's going on, because I think I'm probably gonna listen to Daydream on Spotify. Which, can I complain about Spotify hours for a minute? Because I wish so wholeheartedly that they would consider, like, if I'm listening to a book at 2 times speed, I wish they would like shave that off and let me have like the remaining hours, because Spotify hours count like the whole audiobook listening experience as like 13 hours and 45 minutes instead of, like, I really picked the worst, but like around 7 hours and 15 minutes. I don't even remember. Okay, anyways, sorry. I'll make that math easier. They count like a 14-hour audiobook as a 14-hour audiobook, even if you listen to it at 2 times speed, which only meant you listened to 7 hours. So I wish they would kind of like figure that out a little bit, but it is what it is. So anyways, like I said, I'm gonna let you guys go. I'm gonna stop yapping. I'm gonna make some hot chocolate and sit down and hopefully read some of Wildfire before Oakley wakes up. So I will meet you in the living room with some B-roll. Unless she wakes up, which I wouldn't be surprised. Alright, hopefully this is enough storage. If it is not, I will go and delete some other stuff, but there was like kind of a series I was doing on TikTok on my writer talk, but I don't know. I'm not doing that anymore. I deleted TikTok and I've never felt freer. So I'm just not, we aren't doing that anymore. So sucks for me, but it is what it is. So anyways, I have great news about this. So in a turn of events I was not expecting, I'm rating this book 5 stars. I knew with this book especially, this was going to be the one that when I gave a second chance to, I had a feeling that I would feel a lot differently about it the second time I read it than the first time. Okay, it's not her fault, I know, but she's literally been yelling all day today. It is giving me a headache. And you can't reason with a 7-month-old. It just doesn't work like that. Alright, hopefully that distracts her for long enough. I just threw a different toy over it that rattles, so figured we'd rather have her rattle than yell. But anyways, so, that didn't last long. So this was a book that I was most confident that I would feel differently about. Icebreaker, I wasn't so sure, but Wildfire, I knew that I was on the cusp. I knew I was on the fence about this one after I finished it. That's why I didn't originally rate Icebreaker or Wildfire the first time I read them, but we are bumping up significantly. Like I said, I'm rating this book 5 stars. I think it's going to either go on my best books of the year or most surprising books of the year list. I'm not really sure which yet, but I really loved it, especially like the last bit. I kind of forgot how many conversations happened at the end. I feel like that's like typical for what I've been saying this whole time. Are you wagging your... She just went like this to me. Little sassy nugget. I just fed her, but I wonder if she's still hungry. That's why she's yelling. I don't know. She's been yelling all day though, so... I think, if I may... I think the reason that I like this one... I think the reason I like this one significantly more than Icebreaker is because in this book we had the will they won't they, and like I said in Icebreaker, I just didn't feel like that was prevalent enough in that book. But because of the like forced proximity slash, like, it's not forbidden in the typical sense, but like camp counselors aren't supposed to be hooking up with each other, so it's kind of forbidden. So that created some really good like tension and banter and like sneaking away moments, and I really liked that. I also liked all the hard conversations that were had at the end of this book. I feel like all of our characters really needed it to continue on their healing journey. And yeah, I like that obviously Aurora stood up to her dad in this book, and that, you know, she really needed to do that. And then obviously we had Russ that also stood up to his dad, and we saw the duality of that, and how just because you stand up to someone doesn't necessarily going just because you stand up to someone and tell them that basically you deserve better than what they're giving you. Okay, we're going into my room. This is unbearable. I know it's stupid. I know it's stupid. She's been doing this the past 2 days though, and my head is about to explode. She's fine. Like, I'm not mad at her necessarily, but she is just like really overwhelming me right now. So 1 second. Okay, this is literally as good as we're gonna get. So if the camera's still picking up her yelling, it is what it is. She's also like completely safe out there. I promise it's not gonna be too long. But I liked seeing the duality of just because you tell someone that they need to do better at something to be in your life, it doesn't mean that they're going to. And unfortunately for Aurora, I don't think she ever got that closure with her dad that I feel like she deserved, but it is what it is. But I really liked how Russ's dad became the father that he should have been to Russ the whole time. And he really worked on himself, and not only did he get out of his gambling addiction, but now he's helping others with their gambling addiction. So I'm really, really happy with that. I think, like I said, I think this book is super good. Rated at 5 stars, like I said a million times already. So what I'm going to do now is, I guess since I'm already in here, I'm going to grab my phone charger and I'm going to go back out into the living room and I'm going to try to feed her some more. Like I said, I literally just fed her solid foods, but maybe she's needing a little drink. Yeah, you wouldn't think so with how loud she's yelling, but it is what it is. So I'm going to do that, and I probably, full transparency, I'm probably not going to talk to you guys again tonight. I do go to work in a couple hours, so, but I will be listening to Daydream. Now, before we get into this, obviously I had the highest hopes for this one. I don't know how it's going to top Wildfire, but yeah, I have the highest hopes for this one, and that I'm really going to love this one. Even with the criticisms I've heard about it, I don't think it's going to be that big of a deal. I'm hoping. I guess we'll know when I get a little bit further into it, but I don't know. This is 427 pages long. We'll see how fast I finish it, because I finished this book in under 24 hours. So we're gonna get into this, and like I said, I will try not to get too far in before updating you guys, but my goal is to low-key read 100 pages tonight, if not a little bit more. Okay, probably 99, because that's when the chapter break happens, but my goal is to read about 99 to 100 pages of this book before I go to bed, so that I'm excited to pick it up in the morning. But I wouldn't mind if I read half of it tonight. I don't think that's gonna happen, but it could. So very happy with my progress, and I will talk to you guys tomorrow. Hopefully I don't have hot Cheetos in my mouth, but I have some wonderful news for you guys. So I am here to talk about how I've almost read 200 pages of this book today and my feelings on it, obviously. So I actually last night, to get myself into, like, just to start it, just to dip my toes in, I read 35 pages of this, and then I kind of, you know, stopped because I read over 200 pages yesterday, and I was like, we need to chill with this momentum, Makenzie. But I don't know, it's only 11, it's not even 11:30 yet, and I've read almost 200 pages today, so I don't know. Anyways, let's talk about my feelings and my initial thoughts. So first of all, I need to say this. So obviously Hannah's, oh gosh, I feel like I look so rough. I went to Walmart like this, and I really probably should have looked in the mirror and maybe brushed my hair before I went. I did no such thing. So if I look rough, we're just gonna pretend like that is not a thing. But first, I want to address, like, the main questions that are in the room right now, because obviously I feel like I have a very unique I'm probably not very unique, but I feel like I have a little bit of a different experience with the series than other people have. Because, like, I didn't love Icebreaker, and I still, like, I like it, right? But I don't know. I think I've decided that I'm probably gonna sell these and probably buy a different, like, the actual copy of Daydream. I don't know. I haven't decided yet, but I just don't want to sell. I'm having a hard time because I don't want to just sell Icebreaker outright, and I don't think it'd be fair for me to keep this copy and the copy of Wildfire and split them up. That would be sad. But anyways, that's neither here nor there. So like I was saying, I feel like I have kind of a unique outtake on this series because I didn't love Icebreaker, and then I really loved Wildfire when I reread it. I feel like Henry, reading all these books back to back, is not as different as everybody is painting him out to be. And I don't know if I'm just, like, the only one who's seeing that. Obviously, like Hannah said in the beginning of the book, she's grown a lot since she wrote Icebreaker and Wildfire, and she wanted her characters to represent that. And, like, to be fair, Henry is 2 years older, or a year older, assuming he's about a year older from when Icebreaker started. And now he's the hockey captain and stuff. And so I feel like there's a lot of like maturing that has to go on during that. And I'm gonna say something kind of controversial. I don't think people like being in his head, because people don't get it. And you know, you can be mad at me for my interpretation, but like Henry and Hallie, like it feels like Hannah Grace literally ripped a page out of, it feels like Hannah Grace literally opened one of the filing cabinets in my head and pulled out a whole chunk and is writing these characters based off of my brain, which is kind of like, it's not a unique circumstance, but it's an interesting one that I found myself in for this book and another book that I read in a different video. So it's kind of like unique to me this year because I have never felt this way before. But like, I don't know, it's very interesting, and I'm kind of learning a lot of things about myself through Henry, which is interesting, that I wasn't really anticipating figuring out or thinking about while I was reading a silly little fluffy romance book, right? But I'm really loving this. I really am. And I'm gonna be honest, like obviously I feel like in the first 2 books we got Henry, and at least in the first book he was kind of quirky, kind of like very honest and upfront with stuff, and he's exactly the same in this book. And like I said, I think it's because people didn't read them back to back, and so they aren't seeing it, and they aren't thinking about how the fact that there has at least been a year since the beginning of Icebreaker and the beginning of this book. Like there has to have at least been a year, right? So there's that. But this book is so oldest daughter core. Obviously I don't have all the exact same experiences as Hallie. I think I would literally explode if I did. But being like the mediator and trying to be like the calm in the storm and trying to be the peacemaker of the family is definitely something that I really relate to. I've never like talked about myself like in high school or anything. Obviously I think some videos you guys, some of you have seen from me in the past have been when I was in high school. I mean, I graduated in 2019, so it's been a while since I've been in high school, but I'm the quiet one in my household. I mean, no, not so much anymore, but I was the quiet one. I was the one who never snuck around, who never mouthed off to their parents, who never did whatever, because I felt like I had to do everything perfectly. Not only for like myself and my parents, but for my siblings. So like, I worked so hard in high school, in junior high, because I know that when people find out that you're your sibling's sibling, that can like really affect how they look at you, right? So I tried to be the perfect student. End of junior year, senior year, it didn't really go as planned, but it is what it is. So I know the feeling of wanting to be perfect and wanting to be the mediator and the peacemaker, and you know, it's really hard to just kind of like relive that through a book. And like obviously me and Hallie aren't like exactly the same, because she's like the oldest daughter, but she's the second oldest, and I'm like the oldest child and the oldest daughter. And I think there's like a certain level of responsibility that comes with being the oldest daughter. Like there just is. So it's kind of crazy how seen I felt in this book, and I wasn't really thinking about that until I popped open the camera. So there's that. I don't know. And I never went to parties and all that stuff. So yeah, it's very interesting. And I think, so now that I've rambled about myself for 7 minutes, let's get more into the book, shall we? So we start the book off with Hallie's boyfriend, Will, completely dumping her. He is very rude. Like, I thought that the rudeness from Will would come later in the book, but it hasn't. Like, it came at the beginning. Like, we saw his true colors at the very beginning. Like, if you think of that TikTok sound that's like, I think we need to break up, and then the girl saying okay, and then the guy saying, is that all you have to say or whatever, and she's like, well, what did you expect, we'd cuddle? Like, that's kind of like the vibes of Will. Like, he says we need to break up, Hallie says, you know, okay, that's fine, and he kind of is like, well, what the heck, like, you know, he's being super douchey about it. And so she is kind of trying to figure out where life goes from here, because they've been best friends their whole life. And they kind of started dating out of like almost duty, because everybody expected them to. And she hasn't really ever had that like burning passion. I don't want to say that, but she's never had the feelings towards him that she thought that she should. And so it's forcing her to refocus her mind and energy on herself, because he always made it about him. And she had to be friends with his friends. His friends didn't necessarily have to be friends with her, but she had to do everything for him, rearrange her whole schedule, not do the things that she wanted to do because he needs her wherever. So I think it's very fun seeing Hallie like make genuine friendships and learn that like just because Will's friends were POSs and didn't like her doesn't mean that no one else likes her and doesn't mean no one else values her time. So that's really fun. And then obviously we have Henry. I really love Henry. And we see the struggles that he's dealing with being the hockey captain, even though he really didn't want to, and having to step up for the people in his life, even though he doesn't really see the purpose of it, to be honest. Like, he doesn't see why he has to be the captain and be perfect at everything. And then we also like have his schooling and how he's being basically like blamed for not dropping this class that he needed to drop and stuff, even though he basically puts off things until the very last minute. And he doesn't do it on purpose. That's just how he does things. And that's also how I do things. And he also said something that like kind of made me like, she really got into my head with this one. I think me and Hannah Grace are very similar people, to be honest. But Henry said something to the effect of, because of just how he is, he doesn't have a diagnosis. He's not going to get one in this book, which is totally fine. I have not been like re-diagnosed with anything since I was like in first grade. I was diagnosed with ADHD in first grade. I haven't been on any medications for it since probably 7th grade. So I don't know. I wonder if it would help, but I don't know. So anyways, he talks about how whenever someone tells him to do something or is trying to force him to do something, he just doesn't, it makes it worse. It makes him not want to do it. And boy, if I've ever heard something, like, it really hit me so deep. Like, I feel the exact same way. I totally get it. So seeing that in a character and seeing that voiced is like something I don't think I've really ever had, which is good. And it's almost like I should make Steven read this book and see if he gets it, but honestly I think he'd just read the sex scenes and call it a day. But anyways, and then we find out how, like, honestly, first of all, Will is the biggest piece of trash ever. We also kind of find out that like Hallie's a virgin, which there's nothing wrong with being a virgin. I wasn't until I got married. That was just a personal choice for me. Not that 6 months is a long time, but I really thought that getting pregnant was a lot easier than than it actually is. So I feel like I have like a different perspective on it than maybe some people do. And obviously virginity is a social construct, and it really, who cares what you do in your spare time? So I find it interesting that like, even though they've like done other stuff, he's never really cared about her feelings in that way. Like, he was never able to satisfy her, and he was never able to, I mean, he didn't even care to figure out how he could. I feel so bad for Hallie because she always thought that it was like something wrong with her. Like, she can do whatever to herself, but Will couldn't help her in that department, which is so stupid. And he seems like a real stand-up guy, to be honest, and I really hate him. In this book, she hasn't told anybody that her and Will have broken up. I mean, we are halfway through the book and she's just now told people that her and Will have broken up. And basically Hallie is kind of like the bouncing board for everybody in her family. She has to help them. She has to drop everything that she's doing to talk to them on the phone, which is fine. It's not a big deal. But there's this other conflict where she's not going to be able to go home for the holidays because her and, well, Will decided for her that it would be too awkward if they went home because they're family friends and stuff. So she said that she would stay, and it's obviously too late for her to kind of take that back now, where she's already said that she's going to work and everybody else already has their time off. And her mom just got into an argument about it. And her mom basically is like trying to manipulate her, which I don't, that's the whole reason I picked up the camera, right? But I'm so pissed. So her mom is basically like, Will said that he was flying home alone. Like, why aren't you coming with him? Like, stop being so selfish. Everybody wants to see you. I know he wants to be with you. And finally, after like all this back and forth, Hallie is like, we broke up, Mom. It was a mutual agreement that we weren't happy. I'm sure Will won't care what I'm doing. Then her mom says, all couples go through rough patches. Look at me and your father. We took a 6-month break when we were in college. It's normal. I don't need a mirror to tell me what I look like because I can feel the tightness in the muscles in my face. I'm the living embodiment of the word, huh? Right now, Mom, you and Dad ended up getting divorced. After 2 beautiful children and many happy years together, Hallie, one divorce doesn't erase that. I know you have high expectations because of those books you read, but real people have flaws, you included. I'm confident you and Will can work it out, honey. He's your best friend. Oh my gosh, thank goodness no one ever talked to me like this. I would be seething. I would scream so loud at the person, I would be so mad. First of all, don't ever say, oh, I see, like, okay, first of all, I don't know, like, if you know how your marriage ended up, right, then why are you encouraging your daughter to kind of go forward with the same relationship stuff? I'm not trying to be hypocritical or like critical here or anything. My parents haven't been divorced. Obviously, I'm still married. We're going strong, thank goodness. But like, you would think after being divorced and seeing similarities in your child's relationship as the same one that didn't work out for you, you'd be like, oh, you know, honey, maybe that's a good choice. And instead she tries to like gaslight her and manipulate her into being like, you're wrong, like you guys really should work it out, you guys are great together. She doesn't know, because obviously Hallie hasn't told her all of the details about their relationship and like how terrible it was. And I'm hoping we get that resolved, because I mean, what, I have a little over 220 pages left, and like I said, I really hope it gets resolved, but I guess we will see. But yeah, I'm really liking this book. It also has some more serious topics in here too, so I can't help but wonder if, like, not only do people not like reading and like being in Henry's head, which I get it, it's a lot, and if this isn't how you think on a normal basis, I totally get it, right? Honestly, he's more forthcoming with like his thoughts and stuff than I am. I typically stay quiet, but it's a lot to be in someone's head that has ADHD. And I don't think people really realize that, to be honest. And I'm not saying that's what he has. I'm not a psychologist. I don't know anything, but I do see a lot of myself in him and vice versa. So I don't know. I feel like people weren't expecting it to be like this. I feel like they were expecting Icebreaker or Wildfire 2.0, and obviously that's not what's happening. And something that I like about this, that I've harped on Icebreaker enough in this video, I'm sure, but we get to see how they work together before they even like get sexual or anything, which is really nice, because like, I'm sure that it happens sometimes, but you don't, I don't know, you don't just hook up with someone that you don't like. Even though I eat it up in like romance novels, it's just not necessarily realistic and stuff, so I don't know. We'll see. Also, I like the nod to, oh, what's his name? Shoot, what's his name? Oh, what's his name? Sorry. It was just right. Ryan. I like how everything comes back to Ryan, and unfortunately, I think he's graduated by this point, but we need a Ryan book. Like, I need to see Ryan get his happily ever after, because it seems like, I mean, he just really needs it. And I think that it was funny. I was reading this book thinking, will Ryan show up in this book and hit on Hallie? And sure enough, he did. So I'm glad that we saw that, but so far, I think that Hallie and Henry have a very like healthy relationship. They like to talk things out. She doesn't blow off his feelings and vice versa, and I think that's really nice for the both of them. I think that especially Hallie is used to kind of getting her feelings blown off, but Henry too. Like, I think both of them are kind of prone to getting their emotions blown off, and Hallie getting told that she's dramatic for some of her thoughts and stuff. But yeah, I don't know. I am really liking this book. So I'm gonna let you guys go. I've yapped at you long enough, and I will come back to you either a little bit later today or tomorrow and kind of wrap up my final thoughts on this book. But I can't see this being lower than a 4 stars at this point. In fact, I'd be shocked if it were lower than a 5 star, but we better just like knock on wood and hope that it's the case. So yeah, I will talk to you guys later. Hi besties, what's up? Hopefully you guys can hear me okay. I'm a little bit further away from the camera than I normally am, but I wanted to start implementing this like maybe 5 to 10 minutes of reading time with me, in which I just sit down on the couch or on the chair or whatever, and you guys sit down and read with me for 5 minutes, and I'm just gonna put some B-roll music over it. I'm not gonna speed it up or anything, and we're gonna sit down and read for 5 minutes. So hopefully you guys are into that. I'm gonna get cozy, and you guys should get cozy too, and let's just start reading. I guess it's like a little mini reading sprint, if you will. Sorry if I just blinded you. Alrighty, thank you guys for hanging out with me. I will catch you in a little bit with some more updates. I'm gonna keep reading Daydream. I know I should clean my living room. It's not happening. Wanted to come on here and say that I finished Daydream. I will give you guys kind of my final rundown and thoughts on it, but I would say that I really enjoyed it considering I read literally 400 pages today. I started here this morning from last night, and yeah, as you can see, I think it's safe to say that I liked it. So, but like I said, I'm gonna come on here, talk spoilery thoughts, and I just wanted to tell you guys that I finished it, and yeah. I'm back from my parents' house. So, first of all, I'm gonna apologize for my hair. I know that literally nobody cares besides me, but I apologize nonetheless because I'm here to wrap up the vlog and give my final thoughts on Daydream. Alright, so first of all, I want to say I was not expecting for this book to make me cry. I am being so for real with you guys when I say that I went into this book expecting, like, obviously there were harder topics dealt with in the other two books too, right? But I wasn't expecting to have this level of emotion towards this book, which is a good thing, obviously. And I actually cried a few times reading this book, and I wasn't expecting it. I wasn't expecting to feel the deep connection towards Hallie and Henry that I felt, and I really liked it. And, you know, I've already harped on about why I think that people don't love this as much as they thought they would, and why they feel like Henry is different than he appeared in the other books. And, I mean, I think it's kind of, like, explained in here how he masks and he follows people's leads a lot, and he kind of mimics people. And I think that's why maybe he was different in this book. He was kind of coming to himself a little bit more than he had in the previous books, but I digress. I really liked this book. I rated it 5 stars on Goodreads. I'm gonna settle at like a 4.75. Like, it's really close to being there, and I really liked it. And something that I was not expecting to say about this actually is, obviously it's called Daydream. There's like a lot of Taylor Swift references. In the original cover, she's wearing a folklore cardigan, I believe, or a Speak Now cardigan, one of the two. And I was worried that the mentions of Taylor Swift were going to be like heavy-handed in this, and that it was going to be like, you know, over the top. And it wasn't. Like, I really liked it. I enjoyed how it was brought up, how it wasn't like harped upon. And I mean, I really appreciated that there weren't actual song lyrics describing people. Like, heaven forbid, she says that she was enchanted to meet him at the end of the book. I would have docked a star for that, to be honest. No, just kidding. But I really liked that. I really liked the subtle references to Taylor Swift. I don't think anybody would notice it if they didn't like Taylor Swift, if they didn't know who she was. So I think that was good. Okay, I'm gonna stop holding up the book. So I don't know how to tackle this, but I'm gonna try to. Hannah's mom. Hannah's the author. Sorry. Hallie's mom. I feel so conflicted with my feelings towards Hallie's mom. I think that that's like another, I felt like I needed to get my like kind of thoughts squared away, and I thought about it the whole time I was driving home from my parents' house. But I hate the fact that Hallie's mom had to hear all the things that Will said to her and about her from Hallie before she dropped it. I don't like that. I really don't like that. I'm mad on Hallie's behalf. I know that they worked it out by the end of the book, but it's so frustrating that she was so ride or die for whatever his name is. Sorry. Will, that's right, Will. Like, and obviously there were little jabs, and I think right after I updated you guys was when I hit the point that Hallie's mom actually came to stay over and brought her stepdad and Will and his family a day earlier than she was expecting, and she wasn't expecting to see Will. And he comes back and he kind of makes her feel bad. Obviously Hallie and Henry had sex during this book, which I knew that they were going to. I was kind of surprised that they did, but I'm glad that they got to have that like intimate connection and stuff like that. But anyways, the way he like slut-shamed her, talking about her box of condoms and how I'm assuming he stole them because the box that she had in her bathroom was like partially empty when she left. But I don't know, just like the way he did that. And then obviously one of the big conflicts was that Will, I am going to say something that I don't think will shock or surprise anybody, but after I say this, I'm sure that it'll be like, I don't know. But okay, when someone calls someone else their sloppy seconds, it makes me so angry. They did that in the kissing booth too. I think the direct quote was, I'd be pretty pissed if I were slumming it with my little brother's sloppy seconds too. There is nothing that angers me more than specifically women being called sloppy second. Like you're worth less because you've had a boyfriend. And I don't like how he insinuated that they did more than they did, and how he was like, do you like how I broke her in for you? Like, gross, nasty. Sorry, may seem like cruel and unusual punishment to kick my cat outside, but I didn't literally kick him. I put him out there very nicely, but I really hate that, and like the degrading way that Will talked about Hallie behind her back. I am very happy that Henry did not stoop to his level and fight him and stuff. Like that's a really big relief for me. Yeah, I think Henry handled that really well, and I really like how in each of these books there was no third act breakup. Was there a third act conflict? Yes. Were there third act breaks? Yes. But there was never any breakups, and I really appreciated that, and I appreciated Henry kind of accept the fact that maybe he needed to go and work on himself before he was ready for Hallie, and how Hallie kind of needed to, honestly, she needed to heal from everything that she had gone through from the beginning of the book till the end. And I think it was like really respectable of him to kind of step back and go to counseling and better himself. I really appreciated that. So yeah, overall, like I said, 4.75 stars. I really, really liked it. I'm glad that Hallie ended up standing up for herself at the end of the book, and I'm really glad that I gave this book series a second try. And actually, surprisingly, this book made me like Icebreaker, which I was not expecting to say. So I am going to keep this set of the books, and I don't know if you guys would be interested. I don't want to overdo it with these books, right? But if you guys would be interested in me doing like an annotating video with these books in the future, like an annotated flip through, let me know. I still haven't decided if I want to annotate these copies. I don't think I do. I think I want to get the regular paperbacks and annotate those. I haven't really decided yet, but I had a really fun time filming this vlog. It literally only took me 3 days to film, which I was not expecting, to be honest. So I'm very happy about that, and I'm very happy that I gave this series a second try, and I'm really excited to reread the series again. So I'm very happy about that. Thank you all so much for watching. If you made it this far in the video, thank you, thank you, thank you. I hope you guys have been I hope you guys will enjoy Bookmas, because obviously this is Bookmas day 2 for you guys. So thank you for watching the whole video if you made it this far. If you did, if you like me, if you like my face, go ahead and hit the like button. If you want to see it again, go ahead and hit the subscribe button. And if you want to be notified every time I post a new video, honestly, I'd follow me on Instagram. That's where you're going to get all the details. That's where I will update you guys about Bookmas if there's anything to update you on. But if you don't have Instagram, cross your fingers, hope that the notification bell works. And with all that being said, I will talk to you all tomorrow with my next Bookmas video. Bye everyone.
When you're not here, the sun don't shine. When you're not near, I don't feel like I do when you're